Hello and welcome to the Christmas special of A Quick
The
Brew.
Christmas special of A Quick Brew. Chin chin, Sir David of Bancroft.
Cheers, James, and happy Christmas Eve.
I know. It's gone so quick, hasn't it, this year? It's really flown, I feel, and I can't believe it's Christmas already.
It's come around quick. It's come around very, very quick.
Santa's already started his rounds.
He will have started already, and can't wait to see what he's got in mind for me. Lump of coal.
Lump of coal. You're definitely going to get some of those chocolate coins as well, though. That's standard every Christmas. You've got
I hope so.
So boxers, socks, toffee, some form of Toblerone, and what are your standard Christmas presents?
For me, I love a pair of trainers at Christmas.
Nice.
I love a pair of trainers. But I tell you what, Toblerone, I've got a gripe with Toblerone. In fact, I've got a gripe with this thing at the moment going in my face. Toblerone, could they make them any smaller? I mean, even a big looking bar of Toblerone has got about half as much chocolate as I'd want to find in it these days. Have you noticed that?
I don't know what airports you've been to, but the ones I've been to, I've got some pretty big Toblerones.
Basel in Switzerland? Not enough chocolate. They're cutting down the chocolate. But
I have noticed that the wedges do become deeper, and there's more air.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, we've got a special guest today, haven't we?
We have a special guest for our Christmas special. So I think, without further ado, because hey, this guest can talk, and he can really talk. Let's welcome our special guest, Dviad Bell, onto centre stage.
Welcome, David.
Enough.
Oh, cheers, guys. As I thought this was a brew, I brought my coffee with me.
I like it.
There you go. Cheers indeed,
Cheers
Dave.
indeed.
And happy Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much as well for embracing our dress code. I have to stop this. This is winding me up horribly. This is winding me up terribly.
We need to start a wager on how long you tolerate the hat for.
I've already reached breaking point, so you better get in quick. But Dave, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate that. I've known you and have spoken with you, worked with you over many years across various projects, businesses and opportunities. I'd love, though, if you could just to introduce yourself to our audience. If there should be anybody that doesn't know who you are, I'd be surprised. But if there is, let's just go with the elevator pitch, Dave. Who are you? What do you do? And how do you make your clients' lives better?
First off, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hopefully you're having a lovely Christmas Eve, listening and tuning into this amazing episode, and a pleasure to be here. So thank you, James, and thank you, David. But for those that don't know me, as you put it, David, which I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that don't, I'm Dviad Bell. Been running businesses in excess of 30 years now. I started my first business when I was 17 years old. But now I really work with clients on where they are today, where they want to get to in a advisory and consultancy role. So a non-exec director role, going in, helping people shape their business, how they want to become more profitable, looking at how we can implement technology. AI is the buzzword. I'm sure we're going to talk more about it, but how they can implement technology into their business to systemize it, automate it, and put into place processes. More importantly, how they can make more money and keep that money in their bank accounts. So yeah, love what I do what I love, and love supporting small businesses from all around the country.
Excellent.
Awesome. Awesome intro.
So that is a brilliant intro, a fantastic intro. So I mean, let's dive straight into that. I mean, me and David have spoken plenty of times before about AI, whether it's advantages, it's disadvantages, whether T1000 is going to end up taking over and the sky's going to turn dark. But what uses of AI are you predominantly using when you're going into these businesses and helping them and streamlining and saving costs? What are your AI?
Yeah, let's leave the Skynet to one side for the moment.
For the
Terminator, the end of the world, end of civilization. I'm sure that's on the cards at some point, not in our future. But look, let's look at the realistic uses of AI today and maybe for 2026. You know, we're coming up to the end of the year. There's lots of people who are a little bit worried, a little bit nervous about AI, but there's also lots of people that are excited about it and how it can be utilize. So some of the basic stuff, as we know, copywriting. Look, if there's copywriters listening to this, I fear for you. Jobs are going to change. If you're a marketeer, marketing roles are going to definitely change and alter. If you are a legal, solicitor, a lawyer, an accountant, your roles are going to change. And this is not about replacing jobs, but unfortunately, it is going to change the way that we see the world. So some of the simplistic ways that I'm working with businesses, utilizing it for marketing campaigns, creating great video content, creating great, written content. But then we can also look at putting into place systems. So taking CRM systems, integrating AI into that to make it more automated for sales processes. If you've got a telephone system, about utilizing AI to answer those calls. And a lot of this has already been implemented into large corporates because they have the budget to invest into it. But what is amazing is it's going to be available to all of us because the costs are being driven down and down and down. So next year, I see AI is going to be very useful, very practical, and very easy to implement in all shapes and sizes of businesses. Doesn't matter if you're a one-man band or a freelancer through to a much larger organization.
And a lot of more people are looking to put budgets towards AI as well. So I work in well-being and then the well-being space. And we've been doing a lot of trends reports recently. So at the end of every year, we'll have a roundup with our clients, talk about the work we've been doing with other global clients, but then also the trends that we're recognizing within well-being. And 91% of companies are going to be investing more in AI next year. It's something that I've always been dubious about. We obviously use it within our day-to-day work at Wellity in the sense of gathering information, surveys. It's going to be able to do all those administrative tasks a lot quicker than a human being can. I've always been very reluctant to bring it into a people-facing environment. So I wouldn't necessarily, and this is me speaking on behalf of myself, not necessarily the views of the company, but I wouldn't want to talk to an AI psychiatrist, for example, or to have a people-facing role like that replaced by AI. However, over the past 4 or 5 months, what we've been doing with the L&D team is creating a platform for AI coaching, AI conversation coaching called Lumina. And that's pretty much been snapped up for demonstrations by our clients at the minute. And we think that that's probably going to be a massive source of our revenue next year. 2 out of 3 people globally say that they struggle to communicate confidently. So being able to practice that in a live situation with an AI avatar, so to speak, that's already had pre-programmed set goals and such, and all of so managing difficult conversations and having an employee review that's underperforming, etc., being able to practice that conversation first. So I've had my mind changed in that essence of bringing it into a people-facing role after seeing the power of the tool.
And I think there's a lot there, James, actually, that we can unpack, and quite a few of those elements I think we should explore a little further with Dave. First things first, 91% of businesses are planning to invest more. What are the other 9% doing? Because frankly,
they're frightened, they're scared, and they're not going to touch it, I think is the answer to that.
I think you're right there. Secondly, Dave, before we talk about communication, because I think that segues perfectly into one of your specialist fields of expertise. Can we have too much of a good thing? AI is great, it's shiny, it looks amazing. Can we have too much of a good thing?
Absolutely. Look, I love technology. I've grown up with technology from a very young age, gone through various cycles through the technology kind of era where we've seen the dot-com boom and stuff like that. And I think tech has a great place in our society. But let's be honest, it's not a replacement for us. We still need human to human. What we're doing now. Imagine this 3 AIs here having a chat. How boring would that be? How much dressed up as Wallies, and we wouldn't have the personalities. So we don't want to lose that. I think AI and technology is a tool an enabler to allow us to do more with less. So it will free up more time. But it's very important about how we utilize that time. Not to go and try and do more and more work, but maybe to spend that, doing the things that we love and we enjoy, whether that's friends, family. I don't know, if you like to play golf, go on the golf course. So it can free up some time to do the things that are meaningful to us.
Yeah.
So technology is great. but let's not over-egg it. Let's endorse it. Let's utilize it, but don't let it replace us.
I think one of the themes and the common themes that me and David have always spoken about when we've spoken various topics on AI is, and the resounding message throughout it has been, AI is not going to necessarily replace us, but the people that don't embrace it will get left behind. It's if people that didn't embrace the internet got left behind. People that didn't embrace telephony when it was first established got left behind. So it's about utilizing it to the best of its ability. Like you've said, we're always bereft of time, and so having AI to take over some of the tasks, freeing up our time, surely can only be a good thing.
Yeah, and we all have the same 86,400 seconds every day. That's how many seconds there are in a day. And it's up to us how we utilize that time. So if we want to spend that time as business owners working hard on our businesses to build a successful future, absolutely. But if AI can come in, or if technology can come in and give us some of that time back, then we can utilize that maybe to do things that are going to bring in new customers, better paying customers, more reliable customers, allow us to do maybe community work if that's what we choose to do. So, it's enabling us to get some time back to spend it on more important things to help us develop and grow.
Just touching on that, and that's a really good point that you've said there. Love the stat on 86,400 seconds in a day. I mean, that'd have been a very, very different So Solid Crew song, that, wouldn't it? I've got 86,400 seconds to go. I've got. When you say better customers, do you turn down customers?
Yes.
Good.
And I think we all should. I think, not everybody is the right customer for us. And that doesn't always come back to money, by the way. But sometimes it's relationships. Sometimes it's different levels of expectation. Sometimes it might be time. The customer wants it tomorrow, but you can't do it tomorrow because you haven't got the time, because there's other things, other responsibilities in place. So I think we should all be brave at times and say no, which I struggle with. I'll be honest. It's a trait of mine that I really struggle with. People ask me, so I go, yeah, go on, of course I'll do it. And then I have to find time in my 86,400 seconds each day. But I think we should be brave to say no, and also to sack our customers when the time is right. Because if it gets to a point that, we're misaligned and that can't be realigned, then it's time to part company on good terms. Don't burn your bridges, because you never know what around goes around.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, look, I think you've outgrown me, or I've outgrown you, or we've come to an end, how we can support each other at this time. Always here. Let's have a conversation another day, but it's time to move on. Do it in the right way, of course.
It's a great tip, Dave. It's a great tip. And I think most people struggle with that.
I used to really, really struggle with it, because I was a complete yes man. I was worse than Jim Carrey. And it's and I used to really struggle with it. Now I'm so comfortable with it. Because it's about the right fit for you as well as the right fit for the customer. A classic example I've seen of this, one of my sales guys at the race course was pushing so hard to get this person to become a member. And I was like, listen, don't sell him a membership. If you're having to convince him and he's asking these many questions, he doesn't genuinely want to be a member. And all that will happen is he will then become your worst nightmare. If you have to force the sale upon him, essentially, don't sell him it. And I remember them coming to the first couple of race meetings, and the emails that I used to get, the lists of complaints, and I ended up turning around and saying, "Told you shouldn't have sold that one." So I ended up ringing him up and saying, "Right, we're going to refund you." He was like, "What?" I was, "Yeah, we're going to refund your membership." "Well, you don't want me as a member?" I was like, "Well, based on the last 3 emails that you've sent me, you don't want to be a member. If it's that awful for you, I don't want you to waste your money on something that's." And I can't believe you're not going to fight for me as a customer. I was like, well, what? No, I'm not. I'm more than happy to refund you the money. And yes, thank you very much. We've tried.
That's a mature discipline, isn't it, James? Because again, why are you going to fight for something that isn't mutually enjoyable, rewarding, beneficial? It's a mature decision to say it's not a great fit. Let's shake hands and see where we go in the future, I think. So a good tip, Dave.
And you have to know your value in your services, the value in your business, and that has to be reflected in the customers that you bring on board as well. Because if they don't see the value in you, that's not going to be a marriage made in heaven.
No, absolutely agree.
And everyone has different expectations as well. You know, different clients will have different expectation levels. And I say it's not all about price. You know, people will say to me, well, David, you know, I'll cut my prices, you know, kind of stack it high, sell it low. That's not the best way, you know, to win new customers. I mean, you'll get customers on, but they won't stay with you, as you just said, James. So really what it's about is about finding the right customers, the right relationships, which I'm sure we'll talk more about relationships. And it's about, you know, making sure that the value, the expectation is delivered. Over deliver, under price.
Speaking of relationships, do you think in this new digital era, the new introduction of AI, people turning more towards a disconnected society, essentially? Do you think that power of relationship building is still relevant? Because I do.
Yeah, I think we're changing, aren't we? There was a day that we'd pick up the phone, we'd have a phone call. I have, and I know lots of other people have. Then phone calls have become a lot less. We send a lot more emails than ever. We send a lot more WhatsApps than ever. I love WhatsApp messages in the respect of voice notes because I'm not then I'm not there sitting there typing out a message, but secondly, they can hear my voice, so they can hear the context of the information that I'm sharing or asking, requesting. And I quite like that. It still gets that human interaction, but it means people can respond in their own time. The problem with a phone call these days, we're all busy, aren't we? Can't take the call, I'm with somebody. With a voice note, it means that they can hear it, they can respond in their own time fashion, and then I can respond. And I work with lots of my clients in that respect. Still love a phone call, and I prefer face-to-face over everything else as well. Get me in a room with somebody, much better than kind of a phone call, much better on a WhatsApp.
I mean, Dave, I know and can attest to your voice notes because that's how you generally communicate with me.
I want to bring something up on this. Sorry, David, to interject.
Yeah, go on, Josh.
There was somebody that put a really sort of like aggressive post on LinkedIn. They're saying, "Do not voice note me. Do not slide into my DMs with a voice note." I basically saying it was completely wrong to do so.
Directed at you, James, or was that a generic post for everyone?
Yeah, I think it was a generic post. So,
Okay.
Basically saying that you shouldn't be sending voice notes, you shouldn't be doing this. It's so lazy, and there were loads of people who were commenting to the contrary, saying, "Well, actually, I think it's more creative rather than just receiving a standard text." And she was going back with all of these different answers to these. I ended up just posting on there. I said, "You're the type that goes into Weatherspoons and just orders on the app, aren't you?" you just don't want any form of a human interaction. I said, what happens if those people? She was basically going towards, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to speak to anybody. And I think there is a danger because it was a younger person as well, where there is such a disconnect. There is people don't want to talk anymore, and I'm worried about where we're going as a not just a nation but as globally with the.
Well, there's less ambiguity if I listen to a voice note from Dave as opposed to if he types me something. And as you've alluded to already, Dave, you have tone, you have tense, you have context. It's authentic as a communication channel. So even if you're not speaking with me one-on-one, I'm picking up on nuance that I wouldn't get if it were in a text-based message or email. So I'm all for it. Let's not be distracted by the LinkedIn troll that's unhappy.
We should say, James, I love the way that you thought she goes into a Weatherspoons. You could have picked it up class, you know, establishment, but we've gone for a Weatherspoons. But no, I kind of get what you're saying. There is a disconnect between the way we now interact as human beings. We rely on tech maybe too much, and I think you know a really good tip to share is understand what your customer wants. If they want, you know, phone calls, then you know, have the phone call. If they prefer face-to-face, then be in a face-to-face environment. If they're comfortable receiving WhatsApp messages, send WhatsApp messages. They want it as a voice note, send a voice note. So understand exactly, each customer's different, not everyone's the same. And, you know, tailor it to their needs and their expectations and their requirements. And I think that's the important part. That's the bit that gets missed, you know, and if we miss that, then that's where relationships will potentially break down.
It's a great point, Dave. It's a very good point. And one of our previous guests, who you quite likely know, actually, Lisa Ansell, sales geek, she spoke about pitch slapping. And again, we're getting towards that sort of bit whereby someone connects you on LinkedIn and then instantly launches into a sell. Frankly, if they went to the trouble of personalizing outreach via a voice note, I would be far happier with that than a templated message.
I'll get to know the person as well, actually just opening a conversation, don't talk about work. Initially when some of the best working relationships, you'll probably both agree, the people you have spoken to that you haven't spoken about work with. Do you get where you build that relationship first? Then it's come on to the, go on then, what do you do? How can you help me? It's that relationship building. I've got a new one for you on unsolicited contact.
Right.
The other day, I was added to a WhatsApp group by somebody I didn't know with 200 other people, and then started pitching.
So what did you do?
Left the group.
Yeah, exactly what I would do. Get out of there quick, smart, fast. I get that quite often. And I also, the other one I'm getting at the moment is I'm getting sent Zoom meetings. So they're getting sent through as a Zoom meeting to join a Zoom call to sell me something. And I've not signed up for these mailing lists, but it's sent through Zoom and you can't block it, because if you block it, you can unsubscribe from that mailing list. But if you block Zoom, then you won't get genuine.
Your actual meetings.
So we're in this world now. This unsolicited contact is frustrating, and people always are going to exploit it and abuse it. But yeah, the answer to that is just put a few words in the message back, like, well, I won't even go there. It's Christmas.
Let's
just say Merry Christmas and then exit the group.
I love that, Dave. I love that. I can't believe you'd have a cold call which manifests itself into a video call invite. That's insane, isn't it? That's how. And also, what a GDPR problem on the WhatsApp.
I mean, granted, obviously, I don't know who these people are, but I've never had that before, and I was massively surprised by it. What I find, it's just lazy. It's a lazy approach. I mean, the one thing that I don't mind people reaching out. You're going to get unsolicited contact. One of them might spark something and ignite my imagination, and I think actually they'll put some thought into that, and I will actually contact and speak to them, because at the end of the day, I'm working in sales as well. This is something that I do on a day-to-day basis. But the other thing that really frustrates me with the outreach is, and this is where I think AI is making people lazier, is where you can clearly tell, look, I will use AI. I will talk to AI for hours to bounce ideas about a particular email or a particular subject that I want to start talking about on one of my LinkedIn video series or whichever. I'll have a long conversation with it, and then I'll adapt that into what I want it to be and then use that. It's the one that really frustrates me is where you can clearly tell all I've done is type subject into ChatGPT, copied and pasted, and sent that within a message with the spaces, the hyphens. Fostering is used about 14 times throughout which is a ChatGPT. Do you think we're becoming lazier?
Yes, is the answer to that. And look, these tools are great, by the way, when they're used in the right way and trained. So, look, if you want to use AI, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever platform you are using as your language model, then train it a little bit about you, get it to understand you, get it to tell it, I want this in British English, so we don't get the Americanisms, get it to remove, the hyphens, get it to, stop using the words like fostering and stuff like that, the obvious standout points. And then please just make sure you check it before you press the send button as well. That will eliminate, but ultimately, yes, it's making us lazier because we're not having to put as much thought, but also I think it's allowing us to be, again, in a more productive way. So it helps us. There's certain things that, it can do better than there's lots of things that ChatGPT and other platforms can do a lot better than I can. So why not utilize those tools to help process things, speed up, and be more professional? But you've got to be more balanced.
In collaboration with the tool, not allowing the tool to replace you.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. I ran a AI workshop a couple of weeks ago. We had about 30 people in the room. I didn't know anybody, which you could say is amazing, David, but it was in an Essex base, but I didn't know anybody in the room. And the organisers handed out a delegate list of everyone that attended so they could all connect and share. But it was in paper format. So this has got name, full first name, last name, email address. Now, in the olden days, you'd give that to your PA or your VA, and they would then type it all in manually into a spreadsheet. Let's say that took half an hour. And then we want to reach out and connect with them on LinkedIn. You'd actually sit there and search in LinkedIn and type in each person's name, find it. So here's a quick way that I can use AI. So using Atlas. which is a browser. If you've not come across it, it's Perplexity, but it's called Atlas. It's a replacement to like Google Chrome, for example. You can download it, free to use. I literally took that list, put it into ChatGPT and said, turn it into an Excel spreadsheet for me. Boom. So it done it within seconds. I then took Atlas and I went to my LinkedIn page on Atlas in the browser, uploaded that spreadsheet, that Excel document, and said, go through the list, connect with the people that I'm not connected with, and just send them a message saying, nice to meet you at the AI workshop that I hosted. So I created a non-AI message, but it was obviously being transparent, very transparent. They were there for an AI workshop, and I actually put at the bottom, this message was not created by AI, because it wasn't. I actually typed it. And then I just pressed go. And what it did, it just went off, and you could sit back and watch it actually go off, and it would search for that person by name. Am I connected to them? No, because I weren't with most of them. And then it would connect with them. It would send the message. So that was a process. It would just run automated in the background without me doing anything. I could then turn my, turn around and work on something else. And that would just happen in the background.
How much time do you think that saved you, Dave?
Probably a good hour as a minimum.
You would have said, you'd have said an hour. I'd have put an hour on that. Definitely. Well, this has been an unbelievable episode. I mean, I believe that David has shared with you about our bookcase. It's becoming bigger than a bookcase, I believe, David. It's growing.
Still a bookcase. It's still just about a bookcase, I think. It started as a coffee table. It's at a bookcase. but we're after one of your top recommendations, Dave. I know where you're going with this, and I love this, incidentally. So please, if you wouldn't mind, just adding one more book to the Quick Brew bookcase.
Yeah, and I've got a cracker for everybody, a Christmas cracker for everybody.
A Christmas cracker.
We should have done more puns. We should do more puns in this episode.
We should have thought these out a bit more advanced. So look, we're talking about AI, we're talking about communication, we're talking about being human. And my business partner in Chatbox Productions, a company I'm involved with, is Mr. Nick Luby. Some of you will know Nick. He's a great communicator, a human-centric communicator. And he's written a great book. And it just so happens I've got a copy of it here. It's called Modern Zombies. You can get a copy on Amazon or speak to Nick, and I'm sure he'll do a signed copy. But this is about the world that we live in being a digital world. It's about people being stuck behind their mobile phones. It brings us into technology. And it's about not always relying on tech. We've still got to have that human-to-human conversation. We've still got to, utilize tech, but don't let it run us. Don't let it take over our life. We've put the phone down when you're having dinner at the dinner room table, with your family. Don't let that get in the way of great conversation. It's a great read. There's something in there for everybody to take away. But the reason I want to plug it, well, one, Nick's my business partner. Two, it's a fantastic read. But three, I think it will make us realize that, yes, tech's great, but don't lose human conversation.
And I think that really resonates, Dave. And the thing that I like about this particular recommendation, I'm not sure exactly when Nick wrote this, but it wasn't last week. It's been around for a little while now, and he was probably ahead of the curve in his view and perspective of the inevitable changes that were coming with digital revolution.
Let you into a little secret. I know there's a follow-up book coming. It's being written at the moment. So I don't know if it's going to call it Modern Zombies 2 or not, but there is another book in production at the moment, and it kind of brings us up to where we are now with AI now being a big part. Because when he put this was written, which I think is about 6 years ago now, AI didn't exist. Well, it did, of course it did, but from a hot topic conversation, it didn't. So the new version, the updated second edition, will cover a lot of that as well.
Wow.
Excellent. Don't tell him I told you, though.
An exclusive.
No one's listening, Dave. It's fine.
Exclusive. What a present that is.
It is. What a present. It's our very first exclusive. I love that, Dave. No, I really appreciate that. And one thing before we move on to your golden nugget, and which I'm really looking forward to, and have no idea where you're steering us with that one. I just wanted to expand on one other little area which I alluded to earlier on today, which was communication, specifically speaking, public speaking, being comfortable around humans. I know this tags now into the book, etc. But it's something that you help a lot of people with. I think the very first time I ever met you were actually on a stage It was an awards,
Business
and you
awards.
were presenting. It was Business Awards, yeah, many years ago.
It's something
And
I'm terrible at.
Really? I would not have thought that at all.
No, I'm being facetious.
very confident man. But tell us, Dave, a little bit more about public speaking and being comfortable, yeah, on a stage or in front of people. It feeds into a lot of what you do, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's look, a top tip to take away. I think everybody should take on the brave point of actually enabling themselves to be able to confidently stand up in front of an audience. Doesn't matter what age you're at. You know, if you're young, that's a good time to learn it. Even if you're middle aged or getting a bit older, take on some speaker training. Get out there, just try it. Stand up in front of an audience. Don't worry, no one's going to heckle you unless you ask for that heckling. If you want that heckling, like you was, James, you'd kind of entice it.
Actively encourage.
Yeah, but it's a skill that we should all have and we should all learn and we should keep developing. When I set up my first business, I hated standing up on a stage, talking to my clients, my investors, my suppliers, stakeholders. But you learn to love it over time, and then confidence comes through. And for me, standing on a stage presenting is one of the most powerful marketing tools that you could have. Because while you're up there, whether it's 5 people or 500 people or 5,000, all eyes and ears are on you. And if you can engage that audience through a bit of fun, some interaction, giving them some golden nuggets to take away and implement into their business or to their daily lives, you're going to change lives and they're more likely to reach out and speak with you. So Nick and I, through Chatbox, we run a program called Unlock Your Voice. I'm not plugging it, I'm just mentioning it, where we help people to become more confident. Whether they're just at the starting point of wanting to stand up and speak in front of a very small audience or a small team, right the way up, say, well, I've been speaking for many years, but I really want to take my, the expertise to the next level. But it's a skill that we should all take on board. And the fact is, here's a takeaway, that people would rather die than they would stand up in front of an audience and speak. And that is a stat that we need to absolutely crush. We need to reverse that, absolutely reverse that.
So where can people find more information on this, David?
So if they want to find out more, they can go to chatboxproductions.com and we publicise on there when our next Unlock the Voice masterclass is, or drop me an email. Email addresses are on the page as well, or connect with me on LinkedIn, of course. And that'd be great to have a chat with anybody that wants some help and some guidance.
We'll drop your details, LinkedIn profile on the show notes, obviously, Dave. But no, I'm on board 1,000,000% with public speaking. My daughter, who's now 15, she started speaking and really being confident with public speaking at about 3 years of age through her school at that time. And yeah, she could now talk to one person, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, and it doesn't faze her at all. And that's because right from early days, she's been very comfortable in that environment. So yeah, the more work you do with people there, I think the better. And I'm sure people are very grateful for what you offer them. Do you have then, Dave, and because you gave us there a little takeaway, but do you have an ultimate festive golden nugget that you can wrap this conversation up with?
We should say like a Santa's cookie, shouldn't we, rather than a golden nugget? Have you got?
Well, as it's Christmas Eve, I will wrap, as you just used, Dave, the pun, I'll wrap up with a golden nugget or a golden present to take away. Look, I've got lots of tips that I've picked up through, great conversations, meeting people over the years, working with some amazing people. But one of the things I will say is all about relationships. And we can talk about networking, we can talk about socializing, but my big golden present for you, for listeners, viewers, is build relationships. Get out there, have great conversations, meet people, network. Listen more than you speak, which is tough for the three of us because we like to, open up and have a good conversation. But listen to what they've got to offer, and how can you help them is the big takeaway. So, build relationships, keep developing those relationships, and you never know where that will take you. And it's opened so many doors for me. Businesses, partnerships, collaborations have been born from just meeting someone I've never met before and having that conversation.
Awesome, Dave. Thank you for that. No, and there's a lot to be learned from that. So really appreciate that festive offering to our audience. But really enjoyed the chat. And for me, it's actually a bit of a full circle moment because I think 5 years or so ago, I appeared on one of your pods. So it's amazing now for you to be featuring and contributing and adding such value to ours. So thank you ever so much for that. Dave, I wish you a very happy and prosperous Christmas and New Year, and we'll catch up soon, no doubt. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, James. Thank you, David. And thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, what an episode. A great guest, as I knew he would be. I've known David for many years. I think first met when he was at Southend United. And he's always been an inspirational character and somebody I've always looked up to. So I'm glad that we got him onto the pod. And just to echo his final thought and his golden nugget there, I fully agree with it. You know, relationship building has always been the best form of success within any work and any role that I've done within sales, and it just brings authenticity. And those people, if you build authentic relationships with them, will come with you pretty much wherever you go, I believe. So yeah, it was a great bit of advice at the end there.
What a guest and what a Christmas special. We have one more episode, of course, James, I think this year, which is actually on New Year's Eve. We've committed to not do that one live, which is probably for all involved a good idea. And mate, it's been a pleasure recording this with you this year. Thank you to everyone that's
Merry
listened
Christmas.
and enjoyed and commented and contributed. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.